crypto warriors, changing our world day by day. The way of the crypto warriors, can't rely on the bankers, no way.
Good morning, Bix Weir, roadrunner.com. With your morning horn of Z's, your sip of chaga coffee. Oh, so much to talk about in gold and silver, especially Theta. All you Theta holders, hang on to the second half of this video. You're going to love this one. But really cool interview on Kitco, of all places. Frank Giustra, who I've followed back in the early gold days when I was into gold and silver, but mainly gold in the beginning. He's one of the kind of the GATA guys who just can't get his hands around, or his head around, more appropriately, cryptos. And these are the guys I feel the most sorry for. The guys who refuse to see that the world is changing and they're not changing with it. But hey, at the same time, he's doing a great job. And for some reason, Kitco allowed this. Kitco is one of the major market riggers of silver, as far as I'm concerned, with their allocated, unallocated silver. When an unallocated form of silver investment is linked to a mint, they basically are rehypothecating the silver that's in the warehouse. Some say it's a fraud, some say it's not. I don't know, but I know what is a fraud is that when the mint runs out of inventory and stops making coins, then the unallocated silver is completely bare. There is no backing to that silver. And that's my problem with Kitco. It's always been my problem with Kitco and the Perth Mint. John Adams is doing a great job down there in Australia exposing that. Keep it up. It is a road to nowhere, though. I mean, how many times can we prove market manipulation? And when you finally succumb to the fact that the government is fully aware of what's going on and fully condones and supports the operations through the regulators, it's kind of like screaming into the wind. So we know that it's rigged. We know we can prove it 1,000 times since Sunday that the unallocated silver in times of shortages is completely unbacked. It's a naked short. Whether or not that's illegal is up to the interpretation of the regulator who's in the pocket of the banks. Take, for example, the 2 of the 4 new regulators at the CFTC. One worked or probably still works for JP Morgan. The other worked or works for Citibank, 2 of the largest silver shorts or silver players. I don't think JP Morgan's short anymore, but they clearly are running the game, which I'll show in a second. Anyway, he says it flat out. Gold is manipulated here, and Kitco usually doesn't allow this type of stuff. They'll never publish any of my work at all. They don't allow this news to get out there, and the reporter's just taken aback. Oh my God, gold's manipulated? I'm like, oh, who is this reporter? My God. But, hey, it's Kitco, right? It's part of the game. So that's that. The only people... I would say people, if you want to use Kitco at all, just use them for their charts. That's about it. All right. Silver is still being held down below the moving averages. Great time to buy. You want to buy when the bankers are buying, and that's what they're doing. They're covering their shorts is what they're doing. The Raptors, as Ted Butler calls them, are way ahead of the banksters, though. How many shorts they can cover, I don't know. It's been... they're almost at historic lows. The top 8 historic lows, not historic, but since a long time ago. Let's say going back, I don't know how long Ted's been tracking this. Probably, Ted started the fight back in the 80s of silver manipulation. And when you have the history, we have history behind us. Look at what the U.S. government and the CFTC did to the Hunt brothers. They took them down because they were long 110 million ounces of physical, 120 million ounces of COMEX longs. They basically said, all right, no more buying on the COMEX, only selling. What did that do? That's pure, unadulterated manipulation. And this woman right here, the interviewer, has no clue about any of this stuff, any of it. I'm sure she's a very nice person. Anyway, so yes, the big banks are currently holding down the price of silver. How long is this going to last? I don't know. Usually if JP Morgan's involved, they'll go for the kill shot, which means driving the price beyond as low as possible. Maybe down under $20 would be shocking. But when you get there, the retail silver dries up and you're paying, $10 premium. You'd be paying over a 50% premium to get silver. My advice, buy some silver now. If they try to push it under $20, if they pull the ultimate con, which they might put it at minus $40 like they did oil. It doesn't mean you can buy any silver at minus $40. It just means the con is there, it is happening, and it's supported by the U.S. government, and has been for over 100 years now. In silver, it's mainly the deep state of silver would be out of England. Ever since the Opium Wars, when they got the Chinese addicted to opium so they can kind of churn all the silver that was being used to pay for the opium back to HSBC, Hong Kong Shanghai Bank, and then they bring it back to England because England had all their silver going to China for teas and spices. It was the new hot thing back in the 1850s. And the big plan by the King of England at the time was to destroy the Chinese population. And they've been controlling silver for a hell of a long time. So it's so much bigger than the silver investors know. Most silver investors know. This is a matter of life and death for the banks. Silver is the bank destroyer. And I think at some point silver will show its fangs and take these criminals down. The silver bullet will attack the vampire squid. Matt Taibini. I love that guy. I think he's the guy who invented the vampire squid. I think he was talking about Goldman or the banks in general. Anyway, so yeah, great time to buy physical silver. Get it in your own possession. I don't know where they're going to place the price, but anything below those moving averages, the banks are loading up, and that proved out. There'll be more today. They're announcing the data on who stands where. Commitment of Traders is published today. I look at it on occasion. I know it matters to some extent, but at the end of the day, you can't bet on it. The only way to bet on silver is to get physical in your own possession, sit on the sidelines, and watch the insanity. And that's where I am right now with all my investments. I'm sitting on the sideline, watching the insanity. I know price means nothing. The fair market value of silver is not $22.50. Maybe $22,000, but not $22.50. And that will be proved out soon enough. Let's take a look at where's the COMEX pricing? Here we go. Okay, here's what's going on the COMEX. Yesterday, big volume day. That would be close to 400 million ounces traded yesterday on the COMEX. This is 99% of this is banks trading back and forth to each other. JP Morgan is pretty much out of the game, other than they run the game for the JP Morgan customer account. And that is very obvious in the deliveries. Let's take a look at the deliveries. This is a delivery month, and there's barely any, right? 13.6 is about 18 million ounces delivered. They also have some hanging out there. Usually most of it's delivered by now. We've been over a week into the deliveries, and they still have 2,800 left to deliver. So I think they can hit it. That's just like 14 million more ounces, which would put the total for the month of deliveries at... Let me do the math. Hang on. 32 million, which is very low not very low, but low for a delivery month these days. But that's not all that's being delivered. Remember, Harvey Organ chases down this thing right here. This number right here, the EFP, exchange for physical. That's a big number right there. That's over 6 million ounces is transferred from the COMEX that should have been delivered on the COMEX. They transferred over to the LBMA to hide what's going on. and they've been doing $6 million a day per day in May. And even more, I think, because the actual contract delivery starts in April, like the last day of April, then plus May. But we'll just use May. Harvey Oregon tracks that very well over at harveyoregonblog.com. And as you can see right here, this is the 25 million ounces plus the 6 today's 31 million ounces. Last May, the total was 137. We're looking at beating that. Now, this is COMEX futures and options that should have been delivered, but they don't have the silver, so they have to throw it over to one of the most hidden con jobs in human history in England, of course. Where else? The silver con in England, it's called the LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association, that claims to trade over 100 billion ounces of silver, physical silver, transfer of physical silver every year, over 100 billion ounces. It's insane. But that's the con we live in, and that's how the price of silver is fixed. So right now we're looking at probably 150 million ounces that will be delivered on the LBMA. If they're delivered, who knows what happens when it gets over there? Nobody tells us what's going on over there. But that's huge, 150 million. That will be one of the largest if they continue on this 6 million ounces per day. So you will not see it in the silver COMEX data. But look at the data for silver. There's barely anybody who plays in silver. Look at who is really playing in silver. You got Goldman Sachs had a one-time delivery of 1,000 contracts. That's 5 million ounces. They bought it in March and they sold it in May. You can't justify anything if you ask me. They lost money on that trade. Why would they do that? I don't know. To help rig the market. But everything else is like nothing until you get to Wells Fargo had to deliver 672 contracts. Why are these banks even in the gold silver market? I don't know. But here's the mother of all takers and issuers and stoppers. JP Morgan Chase has issued 1,777 contracts, and this is JP Morgan customer account. Now, when the DOJ came down on JP Morgan, charged them with tens of thousands of instances of silver market manipulation and gold and U.S. dollar, but the same thing is the insanity of allowing JP Morgan to stay in the silver market at all when you have the largest takedown of any commodity trader in history. I mean, a lot of commodity traders. Look at, what's his name? Mark Rich. Mark Rich on the 10 most wanted criminals in the United States history. He was on that list forever. And he was living in Switzerland, and he started two companies. He started Rich and Associates, I think it was called, and that split into Glencore and Trafigura. You've heard about Trafigura in the news and in the commodity implosion stuff. So these are all criminals. But JP Morgan is probably the only company that's been busted for it. Large company that's been busted. They take down the little guys, no problem. It's probably the only company that's been busted for it. And what happened when they got busted? Nothing. They paid $920 million. They probably made $920 billion off, the 10 years of market rigging. That's the criminality, and the CFTC couldn't even figure it out. Well, they could. Bart Chilton said, yeah, we caught JP Morgan cheating, but it was a political decision not to take him down. So the DOJ pretends to take him down, but they leave them with the ability to trade and the requirement that they hold all the silver and all the ETFs, which is insane. All the COMEX silver, the vast majority of all silver in the world is held and controlled by JP Morgan, the same company that got busted for rigging the largest silver scandal in history, busted by the DOJ. This is RICO charges. This is what they took down the Capone family for. But it's a con, and your government's in on it. So that's where that is. Okay, let's talk about Theta. Theta News, big Theta News. Theta Labs to help Sony launch 3D NFTs capable with spatial reality display. The spatial reality display lets people view non-fungible tokens in 3D without the need for 3D glasses. This is the future. My friend Dick Allgaier over at Crypto Viewing a year and a half ago, September of 2020, when they did a viewing of Theta, saw exactly what this is depicting. Here's the slide that Dick drew, people watching these TVs, and literally it comes to life. Imagine going to a 3D movie and not having to wear those stupid glasses, or playing virtual reality games at home without goggles and all that shit. That's what is being invented in Theta Labs. They got patents for this stuff. This is going to be, Theta is going to be the biggest crypto out of all of them. Bigger, way bigger than Bitcoin, because it's more useful than Bitcoin. And they did an ICO, and that's a big thing, because I think that's how the takedown is going to happen with most of the cryptos, is who ICO'd, and Gary Gensler's going to go crazy. You know who's going crazy even more? This psychotic person. Elizabeth Warren does not want you to be able to decide what you're going to invest in. Crypto critic Elizabeth, if she doesn't understand cryptocurrencies, that's, spend a day watching Gary Gensler's, where'd he go? MIT lectures on what cryptocurrencies are. Elizabeth Warren, if you want to destroy the United States of America for the future, go ahead, regulate all cryptocurrencies, because we will lose. We will lose badly in the economic war. And people like Elizabeth Warren, lying criminal politicians, should not be the ones deciding if you can bet on cryptocurrencies to win the game over fiat money. I mean, Elizabeth Warren, the reason I'm picking out Elizabeth Warren is, and always read their language, read the behind the scenes of what they're saying. I remember in interviews she's talking about, somebody said, well, aren't you just angry that cryptocurrencies have done so much better than all other investments? And they're looking to do really well in the future. And Elizabeth Warren goes, we'll wait and see about that one. Meaning she knew there's going to be a takedown of cryptos. And I think there will be. I think when the regulators come in, they'll take as much down as they can. The banks will load up on cryptos, on only a few. They're going to pick and choose the winners. The rest of the world, China's going to say, hey, it's a free game, free market. That's when the United States really starts to lose. We'll have these crazy new regulations around cryptos, and then poof, we'll push them all aside because we'll start losing the economic war, which we are right now. If you don't embrace cryptocurrencies, who gives a shit about money laundering and drug running money and all that? The largest tool of money launderers and drug runners and all that are the U.S. banks. Not even cash. Much bigger deals go down with the global banks, HSBC. They all launder money. Jamie Dimon has $5 trillion per day going out of his Florida office. In and out of his Florida office. Who do you think financed Bernie Madoff? The sole bank. JP Morgan Chase. And that was a con run by the you could say the Mossad, the Jewish Secret Service, or whatever they are. That's like this. It's a bigger story than what they tell you. Elizabeth Warren has warned us behind the scenes that there's going to be a takedown of cryptos. That's why one of the reasons I'm on the sidelines. I just sit with my crypto and wait till they do their bullshit. And I like Theta because they did an ICO. A lot of these companies, the DeFi stuff, they're going to go for absolutely tooth and nail. If you're in a DeFi token, good luck to you. Good luck to you. That ain't going to work. It ain't going to fly in the new world where the regulators think they have control. Then again, outside of the United States, those coins will probably continue to do well. But you will be banned from them for life type of thing, which is not good for cryptos. But something like Theta, which is inventing things that actually help humanity save on content delivery networks, Theta is the future of broadband technology. Elon Musk satellites are going to go away. I'll guarantee you one day a couple of those will pop off, the low Earth orbit satellites. A couple of those will either get exploded by Russia or China or India or whoever's mad at us at the moment. They're all in the same orbit and they'll all be blown to pieces. I heard they've lost 16 already, satellites. I'm not sure on that, but that was what I heard. And they don't talk about that because Elon wants to put up for like 44,000. It's just insane. And it's in Cliff High's data that we have a huge space junk problem. And you don't want pieces of metal flying around in space. I'm telling you that right now. So we'll see what happens with this, but great news for Theta Labs. The biggest part of this news, yeah, it's really cool that we're going to 3D without glasses. But the biggest to me is Sony and Theta Labs partnership. Sony has been a long-time investor in Theta Labs. Samsung just came out last week with more information and more partnership stuff. Wait till Netflix goes to Theta Labs. Wait till Amazon goes to Theta Labs. Wait till everybody, YouTube, is run on Theta Labs to save money. And, oh, by the way, it expands broadband. That's the best part. I mean, to me, not many people talk about it, but it expands the broadband capacity, and that's the number one problem with our tech future. Online, we have to have instant availability of high-speed internet to equal the playing field. And I do believe in that. I think everybody should have access to the same kind of information. I don't believe in censorship. So besides the censorship, if everybody had high-speed internet, that way we can ensure that you're not being segregated because you have enough money to afford internet here, you don't have enough money to afford the internet here. If everybody had high-speed internet, we could have an equal playing field. We won't have to be so, oh, you're this kind of minority, so you get this extra privilege. If everybody has access to the same information at the same speed, then it comes down to the individual. How smart are you? How well do you manage your schooling? And you have the same opportunity as everybody. And everybody should have the same opportunity. We shouldn't be saying, okay, X amount of this race gets into this school. It's all bullshit. Anyway. But just a little side note on, it looks like the SEC is starting to pick up on, remember, Gary Gensler is going to come down. I'm the regulator. I should tell you what you need to do. Nvidia shares plunge after SEC finds inadequate disclosures for crypto mining business. The SEC. They don't make any rules, but they expect you to follow them. They don't establish any guidelines for cryptos, but they expect you. It is such a con, and they did this to Reggie Middleton. That's the beauty about Veritasium now is Reggie doesn't have to worry about Gary Gensler and the SEC. They already did as much harm to Reggie as they possibly could. And now his 98 million Veritasium tokens are sitting idle, waiting for decisions to be made. And the reason I think they didn't dump those shares on the market and take the cash and pay out those harmed investors is because they plan on implementing it. But they're going to need they gave Reggie the patent on this. So he owns the IP. The U.S. government can't. And it's not necessarily those shares that is the power behind the IP. Reggie can start another type of company. Then he'd have to, I think he might have signed a disclosure that said he wouldn't start another crypto company or crypto coin. But it was all fraud. It should have been thrown out. But yeah, it's like you can't fight the IRS. You can't fight the SEC. If they have the criminal judges on their side, Reggie would never have won in court. And he knows that because they have criminal judges on their side. So crazy days. Yes, I am an investor and a continued investor in Theta, T-Fuel, and T-Drop. And those of you who got your T-Drop, don't forget to stake them. Stake your T-Drop. Absolutely. And Theta's only selling for $2.23. Crazy. But hey, cryptos have big runs and big crashes, and this is nothing. I mean, this pullback is nothing. If it crashed down to like $5,000 Bitcoin, yeah, that would be a normal kind of crash that I'm accustomed to riding this game from back when it was $100. We had a crash from 1,000 to 100, 1,100 to like 150 or something. Those are the kind of crashes that get your blood boiling. So this is nothing. Just take your crypto, get it in your own possession. Number one, we learned that from Canada. Get it in your own possession and watch the show. and watch Road to Ruta and laugh about it. Anyway, also, we have Miss Jenny Moonstone. I have just posted this for private road members. We did a reading on Theta just the other day. Really cool information on Theta Labs cleaning house behind. Something was stopping them from doing all this stuff. And Jenny even says I'm like, is the price going to run up? She's like, they're about to announce something. Was it this or something else? I don't know. But Theta has so much going on behind the scenes. This year was supposed to be the year of the Theta patent filings. I heard they were going to file like 20 patents this year, and they haven't. I don't think they've done any this year. Or I don't know if they're filing them or being granted. We'll just wait. Again, if you don't have Theta, get yourself some Theta. If you don't know how to get it, go to roadtoruta.com. Join the private road. We have a Theta page. I still believe that Autograph, Tom Brady's company, Tom Brady's going to come out and say, we're going to use the Theta blockchain. They have yet to announce a blockchain for this big, massive, sports NFT company. They refuse to announce a blockchain. They go through DraftKings, who uses other blockchains, but you can't pull your NFTs off that because they didn't have KYC. And absolutely, Theta has KYC. So I think Tom Brady's going to say, "Yeah, we've signed a partnership with Theta, and we're going to go sell all our NFTs on the Theta blockchain." And that's what Hitomi, the amazing remote viewer from Crypto Viewing, saw in her reading. And then from that point off, poof, it's a moonshot. So that's where we are at roadtoruta.com. Don't forget to join the private road. Right now, we are giving away the Ruta Lives coin. We're just finishing up painting. They should start going out very soon. So if you've already got your subscription, your coin is in the mail very soon. And if you want to renew, yes, we will send you a Ruta Lives coin. Really cool coin, individually numbered. We got really awesome cases too. And the certificate of authenticity. We're going to put a video together showing you what we're doing with those so that you guys can get a feel of it. But these are limited supplies, so order yours today by subscribing to the private road. That's the only way you can get it. Hit subscribe today and join the Road to Ruta. This is Bix Weir. I'll talk to you later.